is a virtual postpartum doula? Somebody asked me recently, and I'm gonna tell you what I said. So a postpartum doula is a little different than a birth doula. Birth doula is kind of obvious. They're there for the birth of your baby. But the postpartum doula works with families after the baby is born. So in that sense, the postpartum doula has to know a lot about babies, and a lot about moms, and a lot about family support and what that looks like, how that may or may not unfold for any woman giving birth, particularly now in the midst of this pandemic, right? So we have less support available to us than we typically had. So as a postpartum doula working in a virtual way, my emphasis is really on educating. It's about helping you make the best choices for your baby and for yourself. Also to help build your confidence as a new parent. I think that that's really important. There's so much information out there all over the place on the internet, and on one hand, you may think like, oh, that's great. So I get to learn all these different things. And, there's no shortage of people giving advice. But that's kind of the problem. It somewhat undermines your ability to trust your instincts and to really believe in yourself. So this is a theme I'm going to explore with some of the interviews that I'm doing coming up. I just think it's really important to sort of look at what motherhood has become, not just in an information age, but sort of in the conditions that we're in right now and how stress and anxiety are running very high. So a traditional postpartum doula, like if you just looked up the definition of that, it might say something like, a reassuring, nurturing, motherly type who comes to your home and helps you with baby care, breastfeeding, and may do light housework. Well, that's the part I never wanted to do and really wasn't terribly good at. And you definitely don't want me cooking a nutritious meal for you, because that'll just be like scrambled eggs or something. So, I had already been doing my work in a way that was more educational and less like, oh, let me just tidy up, before I went virtual. So it was kind of an easy segue into working in a virtual manner, because it was still a lot of helping by talking, by instructing, and by listening. So one of the things that I focus on as a postpartum doula is the mother's mental health. And I really believe that that's the sort of cornerstone of good support. And for me, it's the cornerstone of my practice, preventing postpartum anxiety, preventing depression, preventing the things that can make us feel very unnerved in the first couple of months of being a new mother. That transition into motherhood can be very rocky for many reasons, could have to do with sleep deprivation, additional anxiety, not enough family support, the way you're feeding your baby, pressures to breastfeed, feeling guilty because you can't breastfeed or don't want to breastfeed, or maybe even because of a pandemic, you didn't get the support that you needed in order to breastfeed. These are big issues, and this is what I'm going to be tackling in the weeks ahead. So please stay tuned.